Just 1 second. I'm gonna put like the earphone thing in because he's driving. Okay.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey, Mitch.
Yeah. Hey, Adam. How you doing?
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I think you already touched upon this a little bit. I'll just ask again. What's your favorite thing about doing stand-up?
My favorite thing is writing jokes and just having your thoughts laughed at. It's pretty amazing, you know?
Yeah. So what advice would you give for other comics?
It's quite easy, man. My advice is always make sure that you write down thoughts that are funny, because you want to make sure that you hang on to all the funny things you think. It's so simple as that. Write down anything funny that comes to your head. Don't be lazy.
Mitch and I bought this camera in 1999 for barely any money. I went to the bathroom, and when I came out, Mitch was looking at a real estate magazine. He was like, houses are cheap here, man. So then we finished lunch. We went over to the real estate lady, and she showed us 3 places, and we stayed at a hotel, and I think we bought it that weekend. I think the idea, you know, it's about an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours to LA, and I think the idea was we'll buy our little second home first, and we'll figure out what we want. And you know, like, the idea was, like, when you first move here, you're like, oh, it's only 90 minutes from LA, we'll go every night and do sets. But you don't, because we were on the road. We would go on the road for 4 or 5 months at a time. It was endless. And when we'd come back here, it was definitely relax and hang out.
I like baked potatoes, but I don't have a microwave oven. It takes forever to cook a baked potato in a conventional oven. Sometimes I'll just throw one in there even if I don't want one. By the time it's done, who knows?
One thing I learned from Mitch about writing, and which probably really attracted me to him, was he was a huge proponent of daydreaming. I think he considered hanging out and thinking an extremely valuable way to spend your time. Like just hanging out and like thinking, or allowing your thoughts to drift, setting up your life so that you can have that time to use your imagination. And I love that. He loved writing, he loved the pen, he loved the paper, he loved Sharpies. He would constantly be like, I want a Sharpie to sponsor me. He loved pens, he loved paper, he just loved it. He loved being in a room with a pad. He told me that when he first started doing comedy, for the first years, he would go to like places where he felt kind of weird to write. He would go to like, Target cafeterias, like really bright light with weird people, and like, you know what I mean, that would make him feel comfortable and maybe a bit surreal, so he would write a lot there. I love artists that talk about their process a little bit. Artists. So any joke that I think Mitch had about actually being a comedian or writing is interesting to me, and maybe interested to comedians and his fans. Like the joke about if I go, I have a pen, I write it down.
As a comedian, I sit at my hotel at night, I think of something funny, then I go get a pen and I write it down. Or if the pen's just too fucking far away, I try to convince myself that what I thought of ain't funny.
There's a sometimes perception of Mitch as a comedian, not by comedians, but like I've read people are like, yeah, you just got on stage and wrote that and said that, which is insane. And I don't think people know there's so much work that goes into a comedian, and he put a ton of hard work into it. But he would write constantly, and I have lots of his notebooks, so many notes. He would just write thoughts. Mitch had this kind of neat, interesting writing. It was like kind of triangular, and I think it stemmed from copying his dad. And we would be on the road, and sometimes he would go out and sign things, or if people came in, but it was always in that great writing, and it would take forever. You can see the beginning of like, you know, a Dufresne joke, and it used to be Anderson's Party at 5, because that's his sister's last name. And you can see the evolution of a joke through his writing.
Hey, someone said, hey Mitch, do you lift weights? I said, no, but I do set weights back down. So if would say to the next level. Hey, I walked by a dry cleaner at 3 a.m. The sign said, sorry, we're closed. You don't have to be sorry. It's 3 a.m. and you're a dry cleaner. It would be ridiculous for me to expect it to be open. I'm not going to walk in at 10 a.m. and say, hey, man, I walked by at 3 and you guys are closed. Somebody owes me an apology.
Sometimes a kind of way to get jokes out, he would do free writing. And what I'm so glad that he left behind is some of these free writings is kind of, I can tell what was going on in his life. Like there's a free writing situation here where he talks about how he left his motorhome in Tampa, and I wish I was the first comedian to fly because then I could have had first crack at all the potential jokes. Right now I'm fighting back the urge to discuss the rule about people under 16 not being allowed to sit in the exit row. So it's always trying to create jokes. There was only one situation where Mitch lost a notebook. We were at a theater and I stayed at the hotel and he came back and he was kind of upset. He couldn't remember where he put his notebook. He usually brought it on stage and would put it on a stool. He was talking to people after it went missing. Wasn't quite sure, so he was like he was in the phase of like, let it go, it's gonna be all right. And then we got word that someone had stolen his notebook and it showed up at a party, like a frat party, and there was a bit of a scuffle. And then some kid showed up at our hotel at 6 a.m. with the notebook. During the beginning of our relationship, we were arguing a bit, and so we spoke one day, and I go, "Are we arguing too much?" And he goes, "No, we're just like the band Aerosmith in the beginning." I think he had just watched Behind Music. They're passionate. So then I found this a few years ago, in a hotel bedroom. Mitch is sitting on the bed watching TV. Script, Mitch. See, Linny, Steve Tyler, and Joe Perry of Aerosmith fought all the time. Lynn, right? Why does my relationship have to be compared to Aerosmith? Mitch, because they're creative. They need tension to create. Lynn, do you really believe that? Mitch, completely. We fight, I come up with a new joke. Lynn, that joke is supposed to be really funny, as it's at the expense of my sanity and inner pain. Mitch, all fights ain't that intense. Sorry. Lynn, any fight is intense to me. Mitch, fights are just another emotion, sweet emotion. Lynn, since we're like into Aerosmith, when are we gonna record our next album? And I've got a new scarf for you. Mitch, see, that's funny. You created a joke. Write it down, mama. Grab that pen and pencil. Mitch carried around a video camera quite a bit, like in the 90s and 2000s. I have tapes. The stuff we have at school, I found this video that he took. He had taken the camera down to a show. He was at the San Francisco Punchline, and he would just sit down and he'd set the camera up behind him, filming in the mirror. And this is the feature act is on, and Mitch is getting his notes ready. So it's great to see. Like when I look at it and I just, it's completely him with his notebooks, writing his notes, getting ready for a show.
We had a lot of things like Dini, Chloe, and I got a t-shirt. I got a t-shirt for me. It said, had the world on it, and it says, "Number one dad, as if I'm the best looking dad in the whole world," which you already know is sort of suspect. But you don't go shooting up the one spot right off the bat. You're gonna like have your wife die, try to keep the stocking fractures or something. You're big number one.
I have a girlfriend named Lynn. She spells her name Lynn. And my old girlfriend's name is Lynn too. She spells her name Lyn. Every now and then I fuck up. I call my new girlfriend by my old girlfriend's name. And she can tell because I don't say as long.
And he had this other habit. Whenever he wrote, he would just sit in the bed like this, like with his head back and forth. And when he was younger, his parents thought he was autistic. Do you know what I mean? Like this. So he'd sit like this and write.
Who are you? Batman. Sorry, I stutter. I'm fight crime.
my love with Batman is so extreme that going to see The Dark Knight when it came out, I got to the theater 3 hours before the movie just to make sure we had great seats.
Got other shit to do? You don't give a fuck about Batman? The fuck is that? You didn't buy your tickets a month ago like the rest of us who hate sex?